Welcome to our Let's Talk About mini-series, which is all about giving early career researchers the tools to get published. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Katy Mathers and I am Books Commissioning Editor for Sociology here at Emerald Publishing. I've worked on Emerald's book programme for over 3 years now. I hope you're familiar with Emerald as a book publisher, but if you're not, we are an independent academic publisher based in the north of England with an award-winning books programme. In the following presentation, I'll talk about everything you need to know to write and submit a book proposal. If you're thinking about writing your first monograph, this is the video for you. Thanks so much for watching. Let's talk about writing a book proposal. How do I get started? Before you begin writing a book proposal, it's good to be aware of the different formats available to you. At Emerald, we welcome both long-form or short-form projects. One of our options is a traditional scholarly monograph, coming in at around 60 to 90,000 words. A monograph enables authors to create a detailed written study that focuses on a single specialist aspect of the field. Emerald publishes authored monographs and also edited collections, which would allow an editor to bring together multiple chapter authors under a specific theme. We also publish a range of book series, to which we also welcome submissions in both long or short forms, depending on the expectations set by the series. In the case of series, it's really important to look at the aims and scopes of the series titles in your field to find the best match. Ultimately, if your manuscript is outside the scope of the series, it is likely the editor will reject it. At Emerald, we also have a short form option, housing projects between 30 and 50,000 words. Emerald Points is a short-form book series that promises submission to publication within 12 weeks of a final manuscript going into production. It is an ideal channel for responses to current affairs and contemporary issues, and it welcomes theoretical or analytical work, as well as think pieces or polemics, policy-focused research, findings with relevance for practitioners, and in-depth case studies. Having identified the right format for your book, you can now think about putting together a proposal. The following slides will offer guidance on how to build it. When preparing a book proposal form, there are lots of key details that you'll need to include to make your proposal comprehensive, detailed, and strong as possible. Firstly, we'll need details about you and the author team, if it is a multi-authored work. Your name, affiliation, contact details, and publication history will all need to be outlined. Crucially, we'll need information about the book. This includes a title, short and main description, an overall topic description, and a list of unique selling points. You'll also need to include a provisional table of contents so we have a full understanding of the proposed chapter structure. This should also include short chapter abstracts if available. We also want to hear from you your understanding of the marketing competition for the book. Who does your book appeal to and why? Are there any competing titles? Another key piece of information is the format and length. We'll need to know the expected word count, number of tables and figures, and if any sample material is available. Another key question for us is understanding sales and marketing potential. So at this point, can you help us understand any ways in which you may be able to support the sales and marketing of your book? Finally, we'll ask for some reviewer recommendations, as all book proposals are single blind peer reviewed. It's important to note that while we ask for recommended reviewers, these may not be used and we may use our own contacts. In the next few slides, I'll be adding further explanation on how to fill in specific sections of the book proposal form, as highlighted in the previous slide. Firstly, the book description. It is important to bear in mind, in your short summary, you should be clear and concise and avoid using too much jargon. It's important to bear in mind that your proposal form will be read by a number of different people with different levels of knowledge in your field. You should also give as much detail as you can in a chapter-by-chapter summary to help the external peer reviewers and your editor understand your approach and the development of your argument. Finally, it's very important to understand the purpose. It's essential to give your readers an idea of how your research extends beyond current understanding. You'll need to think about questions such as, what is the significance of the work? Why is it important and original? What are the implications for practice? What new research avenues might the work lead to? The market and competition element of the proposal is another section to consider carefully. You should be realistic with regard to the potential market for your book. No book can appeal to all markets. You should list works which sit alongside your own as competition and be clear on how your book is distinct. What new contribution is your book making? Importantly, saying that there is no competition for your book is not helpful and is very unlikely to be the case, so that's something that's really important to bear in mind. Finally, getting the title for your work right is really important. Your title should be clear and concise and accurately reflecting the content. It should differentiate your book from other titles on the market. And it should include key phrases from the field that identify the focus, making your book instantly identifiable to the target readership. In terms of more practical elements, when crafting your book proposal, it's important to be realistic about proposed delivery dates. Don't set yourself a deadline you cannot reach. For edited works, you should set realistic deadlines for any contributors. We suggest an extra 6 to 8 weeks ahead of your manuscript submission deadline. You should consider word count. As covered, a typical word count for an academic monograph is around 80,000 words, or 30 to 50,000 words for short-form Emerald Points titles. Exceeding these may impact pricing and marketing for your book, so it's important to be realistic about this in advance. You'll also need to provide a list of possible external peer reviewers in your form. Reviewers should be based at a different institution, and if your book is an adaptation of your thesis, they cannot be one of your PhD supervisors. You are also welcome to submit a sample draft chapter with your proposal. It is always helpful to give reviewers a further example of your writing style. Finally, it's always good to demonstrate that you are aware of issues surrounding clearing permission to use third-party material. For example, if you intend to include images in your book, do you have permission from the copyright holder to publish them? Across the book proposal, it is important to write simply and in a clear and concise manner. The following slides will share best practice on achieving this. Investing a little time in ensuring your book proposal is easy to follow can really help readers absorb your key messages. If you read it back in the eyes of the reviewer or editor, does it make sense? Particularly for a proposal, you want the reader to quickly grasp how your work has added to the knowledge in your field and highlight any potential applications. You should make sure this is clear throughout the proposal. It's important to keep in mind your paragraph and sentence structure. A good paragraph contains only one major point of discussion. All the sentences in the paragraph should relate to this one idea and should flow from one another. One golden rule for clarity is that a sentence should be easy to understand the first time you read it. If it isn't, then think about restructuring it or splitting it in two if it is too complex. You should cut the clutter and reduce unnecessary text. Try not to use lots of words when just a few would do. Look out for padding words. Some words may be correct grammatically, but they don't really add anything to the sentence, so can be removed. Try to avoid repetition. Finally, check your tenses. Be careful not to dip in and out of different tenses. One of the most important tips is to proofread. You should plan for this and build it into your writing schedule and try not to leave it until the last minute. Try waiting 24 hours. If you try to proofread just after you've completed your final draft, this will be much harder. Show the draft to someone else who can view it with a fresh, unbiased pair of eyes. If English isn't your first language, then here are some tips for writing as a non-native English speaker. Write a draft of your proposal in whatever English you have. This is much easier than writing it in your own language and then translating it. Try not to worry too much about grammar and spelling at this stage. It's helpful to look at your target publication channel and others in the same field to pick up tips on phrasing nuances within that field. You may need more hands-on help here, but perhaps not a professional service. You could try finding someone who can help you express yourself more clearly in English. Try seeking help from a colleague whose English is better than yours so that it can help you clarify your meaning. If you need professional help, there are options available. Emerald partner with Editage, who provide a paid service. They match you with a relevant expert in language support, translation, editing, figure preparation, manuscript formatting, and more. Something to think about when thinking about writing your first book is the benefits of co-authorship. Co-authoring, of course, allows for collaboration. The growth in collaboration is linked to the move towards interdisciplinary research. This sees teams in different disciplines combine information, data, techniques, tools, perspectives, and more to find solutions to problems they are unable to solve alone. Working with co-authors provides learning opportunities. If you're a first-time author, it can be a great way to pick up good publishing practices from more experienced colleagues. Co-authoring usually leads to stronger submissions. More eyes in the proposal can result in a more robust project because what one person misses, another is likely to spot. Co-authoring may also improve funding opportunities. Funding bodies look favourably on co-authorship and collaboration. Interdisciplinary research is also a growing requirement. An important note for co-authorship is that when multiple people have contributed to a piece of work, it can make it very disjointed for readers. You should ensure the manuscript is checked and edited so that the tone is consistent. To summarise the previous slides, here are a list of things to think about and things to try to avoid. When building a proposal, you should try to summarise and conclude, restating the main argument and presenting key conclusions and recommendations. State how your findings or new framework can be applied in practice. Explain what the implications are for further research. Say to what extent your original questions have been answered. And also highlight the limitations of your research. On the other hand, you should try not to start a new topic or introduce new material that is reflected throughout, make any obvious statements, or make any contradictory statements. Once you've finished drafting your proposal, it's time to submit it to a commissioning editor. On this slide, I've listed our book commissioning editors here at Emerald, along with their subject areas and contact information. So, once you've submitted your proposal, what happens next? The following slides will cover the next steps following proposal submission. The next step is the book proposal peer review process. All book proposals at Emerald go through a rigorous single-blind peer review process. This means you won't know the name of the reviewer, but they will be aware of your identity. We may use the reviewers you suggested in your proposal, or we may draw in our own list of contacts. We aim to send you feedback within 4 to 6 weeks, subject to the availability and workload of reviewers. We'll ask reviewers a series of questions to help us understand the value your work might bring to the field. They deliver their answers in the form of a short, templated report. These are listed here. Please do feel free to pause the video and take a look. In summary, the questions cover the originality, structure, and appeal of the work. Once the reviews are in, your editor will be in touch to discuss next steps. If the reviews are positive and the series editor or publisher approves your proposal, you'll be sent a contractual offer for publication. Alternatively, if the reviews recommend revisions, you might be asked to revise and resubmit the proposal to address concerns raised in the review. This slide offers a general overview of the life cycle of a book project. We won't go through it step by step in this video, but again do pause and take a look. This infographic covers the process from proposal right through to publication. Finally, please find here a list of useful links to consider when drafting your first book proposal. Thank you so much for listening. We hope this presentation was useful and enlightening. Please do get in touch with me if you have any questions, and good luck with your budding writing plans.